It's Friday, February 17th, 2012. We're live in the Wall Street Journal newsroom in New York. Today on WSJ Lunch Break, Jeremy Lin finally giving Knicks fans a reason to watch. So why are so many listening to the games on the radio? Plus, a wine with an identity crisis, but it has a great taste and an even better price. We will tell you about that. And smartphone deals getting even richer. How does the price of 1 penny sound to you? I'm Wendy Bounds. Welcome to the show. First this morning, let's start with news on the economy and U.S. consumer prices rising at a fast clip in January. Are we looking at inflation? Let's ask Connor Dougherty. He's right here beside me. Usually you're here for the beer segment.
Exactly. I wish I still was. Well, food prices went up.
News, right?
Food prices went up, and I don't know if beer's counted in there, but anyhow,
There's a food.
yeah, it's not a pace that's going to like freak anybody out in terms of like inflation is spiraling out of control. That said, its prices are running a little hotter than the Fed's sort of comfort zone, and it makes it less likely that they're going to do more things to kind of boost the economy a little bit. And it hurts, it hurts people, The economy is still sort of the economy's improved a lot lately, but still 8.3% employment. People aren't getting big raises. So more at the gas pump, more for food. Apparel prices were up 0.9, they're up a lot. And so it just sort of adds to the weight of, it makes it harder to really increase your,
index.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it makes it harder to just really spend more and get the economy kind of going.
Because the prices, Connor, were sort of up a little bit across the board.
Exactly.
And that's what makes it particularly painful. And especially one thing you just noted, which is really important, is that wages just aren't rising to keep up with the inflation.
Exactly, because again, even if jobs are growing a little bit lately, we still have 8.3% unemployment. So if you're an employer, you're still sort of in the driver's seat there. Another thing in a sort of like weirdly perverse way is rent is up quite a bit. And we've seen this a lot in the construction data that people are building apartments all over the place. It's sort of like a landlord's market.
Right.
And if you think about it, we have all these empty houses everywhere. Exactly. And so I guess it's just sort of like this shift where people, either they're being booted from their houses or they're kind of like, I don't really know if I want to buy right now, or this we've written a ton about, which is people who might otherwise have qualified for a mortgage just aren't right now. Yeah, exactly. So
I mean, and people whose homes have gone into foreclosure who now have to rent. I mean, these are probably people who were having financial troubles to begin with.
Exactly.
Now they have a little bit of inflation to add on to that. And the other thing, we're not through the winter yet. I mean, it has been a mildish winter, at least here on the East Coast. But I think we saw energy prices also going up for the first time since September, which
exactly.
That's its own pain.
And the energy prices in and of themselves weren't up that much, but gasoline was up quite a bit. And that's like, we did a story on this earlier this week. That's the one that, beyond just the obvious, you use it every day, it has this like singeing psychological effect where you're constantly looking at it and constantly thinking about it. And I moved here from Southern California, and I remember people would always be talking about gas prices, and they weren't even particularly high then.
Right,
so.
right. That's where people feel the pain most, especially if they're trying to get to a job that they just landed after being unemployed for 6 months to a year.
Well, or they get a job and they don't want to drive there, or it just like I said, it doesn't matter. Rich, poor, everybody hates higher gas prices.
Very quickly before we let you go, Connor, in terms of how inflationary pressures limit the government's ability to do things to help the economy, how does that relate?
Well, again, it's not a pace right now that's going to freak anybody out. I mean, freak some people out, but the Fed has been the interest rates are very low, and they've been doing this thing where they essentially tweak their portfolio and it lowers long-term interest rates, and it just sort of makes it much harder for them to do those pretty extraordinary steps, things that are not normal by any means. And so, I've been talking to our Fed reporter today about unless inflation kind of cools off a little bit, it makes it very hard for them to do. Continued to do. It's called QE3, but these sort of
easing.
Exactly.
Yes.
But to some extent, this is a little bit of a good thing, because the energy and all that is not good, but it means the economy is getting a little tiny bit better.
Yeah.
So some perspective.
Good to look for the silver line on that. All right, Connor. Next time we have you back, beer it is.
Yes, please.
We look forward to that. Have a good weekend. Thanks for being here.